Today's prophetic message is coming from the Gospel according to Mark. So we're reading verses 2 from 13 to 28. Jesus went out again beside the lake. The whole crowd gathered around him, and he taught them. As he was walking along, he saw Levi, the son of Alphaeus, sitting at the tax booth, and he said to him, "Follow me." And he got up and he followed him. As he sat at dinner in Levi's house, many tax collectors and sinners were also sitting with Jesus and his disciples, for there were many who followed him. When the scribes of the Pharisees saw he was eating with sinners and tax collectors, they said to his disciples, "Why does he eat with tax collectors and sinners?" I want to stop it right there. Who is any of us to tell another person, especially Jesus, who he can be around and who he cannot be around, who he can eat and not eat? Is it not in fact sinners who actually need Jesus and God more in their life than anybody else? You see, this is where the judgments of other people really do come into play. I wouldn't personally discard from sitting and having anybody in my house having dinner, regardless of what they did. I'm not here to judge anyone. So when Jesus heard this, he said to them, "Those who are well have no need for a physician. Those who are sick, I have come to call not the righteous, but the sinners." So when we think of being physically sick, it's most of the sinners who is physically sick, because that negative energy turns into illnesses eventually. Now John's disciples and the Pharisees were fasting, and people came and said to him, "Why do John's disciples and the disciples of the Pharisees fast, but your disciples do not fast?" Jesus said to them, "The wedding guests cannot fast while the bridegroom is with them, can they? As long as they have the bridegroom with them, they cannot fast. The day will come when the bridegroom is taken away from them, and then they will all fast on that day." When we think about fasting, it is a spiritual thing. I've done it myself. I've done it for a few days of fasting, just having fruits and waters and things like this. It is to purify. It is to help with our connection. So we shouldn't worry about who's with who, because one day those people will be taken away from them, and they will suffer. They will fast. They will seek some sort of an enlightenment, but not until they remove themselves from this bridegroom. No one sews a piece of unshrunk cloth on an old cloak, otherwise the patch pulls away from it. The new from the old, and a worse tear is made. No one puts wine into old wineskins, otherwise the wine will burst the skins. But the new wine puts into wineskins. One Sabbath he was going through the cornfields. As they made their way, his disciples began to pluck heads of grain. The Pharisee says to him, "Look, why are they doing what is not lawful on the Sabbath day?" That's Sunday, in case you don't realise. And he said to them, "Have you ever read what David did when he and his companions were hungry and in need of food? He entered the house of God, where Abiathar was high priest, and he ate the bread of the presence, which is not lawful for any, but for only the priest to eat. And he gave some to his companions." Because we've got to share what's there. And like this Sabbath day of no work, if people are hungry and if people are in need, on a Sabbath day. Well, they are exempt from this. I myself work very hard on Sundays. This rule doesn't apply to me either. But if people are suffering, if people are in need, and certainly in need of food, that is the only time we should break that commandment. He said to them, the Sabbath day was made for humankind, and not humankind for the Sabbath day. So the Son of Man is Lord, even on the Sabbath. So really and truly what this message is about is that we are too very quick to judge other people. We shouldn't judge people. We shouldn't judge why some people are with other people. Maybe they're there to help them. Maybe they're there to teach them. Maybe they're there to enlighten them. It's those who do the worst in the world. It's those who commit the worst crimes. It's them that needs our light. It's them that need our guidance the most. It's them that need my abilities and other people with the same abilities. And like, we shouldn't sit there and say, I don't think I'll help this person. I don't think I'll help that person. I don't think I'll help them at Sunday. I've often given up my Sunday to help a person in need, even though Sunday for me is family day. I wouldn't think twice about that. I don't care who I have to help or who needs my help. If I'm called to help a person, I will help that person. If I'm called to give someone money, I'm called to give someone money. If I'm called to feed a person, make them stay for dinner, I'm called to do that. And I follow the guidance that I have received. I've received many guidance myself personally about judgments on people. If we were to judge certain people in society by this matrix system, which we don't even buy into, many people would be ostracised. Many people would go hungry. Many people would be shunned and treated like mere leopards in communities and in our societies. You should never look down on a person, not for what they wear, not for their actions, and certainly not for what they work at. We all have different jobs, we all have different gifts, we all have different abilities, we all use things in a different way, but once we are here to use whatever it is that we have for the better good of humankind, well then it works, doesn't it? It works. This system has to go. Not only does the system need to go, arrogance, one of my pet hates. I really hate it in a person. Arrogance is learned behaviour. It's something that can be passed down to our genetics, even if you don't see it within a person. You can have a very arrogant person down your bloodline. There's nobody better than anybody else in this world. And there's many people, there's many people really do need pins into their head because they're overinflated. How they think about themselves, how they think about other people, always having an opinion. What about the opinion of your own lives? What about the opinion of yourselves? Surely that matters. Should that not be first and foremost? Too many people wonder what somebody else has, what they don't have, what they wear, what they don't wear, what they drive, what they don't drive, where they go on holidays, where they don't, what kind of wine do they drink, what kind of, why does any of these things really matter to people? They're all the superficial things in life. This seems to be the most important thing to many, many, many people. They should be the furthest thing from your mind as a priority. So this is how, when we think about society, humankind, mankind, what has happened? How have we come so far away from the instructions that we've had being incarnated here? Why does, I don't want to name out any particular brands or anything, why does designer clothes Why does people feel that designer clothes makes them seem much better in somebody's eyes? I would rather sit and have a conversation with an honest person who was a real person wearing the best of pennies clothes than to sit with a snob, arrogant, fake person who's sitting there with Tommy Hilfiger, or what's the other one? I'm trying to think of the one that my brother always wears. I'll forget about it, doesn't matter. I can see the logo. What does it matter? What does it really matter? When I think of people's arrogance, it doesn't matter to me what colour clothes you wear, what colour your hair is, what colour your skin is. It really doesn't. What really impresses me is your heart and your soul and your kindness. I actually wouldn't be looking at a person and what they're wearing or not wearing. I don't look for these things. And sadly, many people do look for these things. Sadly, many people feel that this is how they're brought up. This is how life is. This is not how life was meant to be. This is not the universe that God created for us all to live in. Some people are gone so far from self, there is no return for them. There never will be a return for them. There's many little points on a pathway when we're going down the wrong path. There's many. There's not just one. There's many little points. Some people are passing these and waving at them. You're meant to turn around. You're meant to turn around. You're meant to stop and objectively look at yourselves. See your qualities. Sit there and write pros and cons lists of yourselves. What you've done in life, what you've achieved, what you think is a pro, what you think is a con. You'd be very surprised if you were to actually sit there and do that, which many of you won't do because hey ho, you don't want to look at yourselves. That's fair enough. You would see really and truly how many cons there is and how people aspire to be cons and to con people. But these con men, women, they're only conning themselves at the end of the day. They're not conning anyone. They can con someone for the short term. Yeah. You can do all sorts of illusionary magic to confuse people, to con them. But everything has an ending. And something only lasts so long. And quite frankly, arrogance, superficiality, it'll only get you so far in life. And it won't get you very far. Kindness, support, being non-judgmental, being a real person, being who you say you are, sitting there with ordinary people and having conversations with them, sitting with the people who are judged the most in society, the ones who are the most disadvantaged. I can tell you now on my heart, the people who are the most disadvantaged in society are the most realist person I've ever met. They're the type of people I want to sit with. They're the type of people I want to get to know. I want to know their lives. I want to know how they've got to this point of their life. We've got some amazing people who come from all different types of walks of life. It's only the snobs and the rich and the ignorant think that they're better than them. You will never be better than the most disadvantaged person in this universe, in God's eyes. You're beneath these people. You are the lower levels of humans. Unfortunately, God put us into this universe, a universe where Satan runs freely. His energy runs freely down here. And that's your choice. What energy are you going to work with? What God are you going to work with? But remember this. To listen to Satan and have his energy within you and go by his ways, it won't get you far. Because this is God's universe, not Satan's. God makes all the final executive decisions of what happens here. So you best be very careful. of who you allow to guide and follow your days in every way. Because of getting to the point of being, I didn't know, or I'm sorry. It's a bit too late for the divine judgment. Many people, regardless, stand back and watch an awful lot being done. On a collective level, they stand back and they watch it. Even people in governments, they say, oh my God, I don't get me going with them. They stand back and they watch it. They know what's going on. And yet none of them will speak up. None of them will open up the mouth. None of them will expose them. They have no fucking backbone. They haven't got that of integrity to do the right thing. I'm sure many of them are still being guided. And being guided by the lie. And they choose to ignore that guidance. When Judgment Day comes for us all, which it comes for us all, there's nobody getting out of Judgment Day. I can guarantee you, your Tommy Hilfiger and other designer clothes won't work its way with God. He doesn't buy into that. It's all about the heart. It's all about the soul. It's all about the spirit. The kindness and love and compassion that you bring to this universe. That's what he seeks. And sadly, it's in very much decline in many of these souls. We are really to really think. I'd love to sit down with someone and have a conversation with someone who really does think like that and ask them, I'll ask them, some very straightforward person, why do you feel because you wear Tommy Hilfiger you're better than me that doesn't wear it? I'd love to know this. It's something I would personally love to know why because they can't answer you. They don't know why. They don't know why they're behaving like this. They've saw it, they've heard it, they see other people. But they can't even explain to you why they are the way they are. Why they think the way they think. Why they look down at other people. I mean, the only time you look down at a person when you're helping them up. But unfortunately, there's not too many people help people in this world. They're only out for themselves on what they can get and how far they can go and how they look by society. It's not society that you should be worried about. It's God. It's Earth or God. And that's the only person I'd be worried about. Right now, we are going through a very much of a collective shift of energies. And there's a lot of people leaving. There's a lot of people exiting this game called life. We're leaving the universe. There was enough time for people really and truly to get into alignment of where God is shifting this universe. And sadly, still many people have not shifted into alignment. We can't have ignorance. We can't have this arrogant attitude. We can't have judgmental, nasty people who lie and gossip and spread rumours and slander people's names all because I'm better. You know, you will never be better. You will never be better. There's a lot of people who are so consumed with the devil, Satan's energy that it is utterly leaving them mentally deranged. Their mindset, how they view and speak and treat other people, it's an absolute disgrace. It's an absolute disgrace. And I think we should all be able to say whoever we want to say with, eat with whoever we want to eat with, help whoever we want to help, or whoever we're being told or guided to. It's like you can't, I've had people judging me for the people I work with. I would rather have those people in my home any day than have snobs. I wouldn't like, at the end of the day I've had to work for snobs. I've never told one person no, that I will not work with them. Not one person. So I've worked with people from all sides of society. It's the realest. I love to have a conversation with the real people. Because I truly want to know their soul. I truly want to know what they've experienced in life that has brought them to this point. But sadly, there's not many people out here that want to know these things. They're too busy living this fake life. Those fake lives are about to be taken, because let's just face it, it's real, authentic people the divine wants in his universe, not these sneaky snakes. That is your prophetic message for the week.